Hey guys, Scripted here with another video. Once again, Merry Christmas to all of you, and to those who don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays to you too. I just wanted to talk about this just insane expenditures that Disney is spending on these shows. And what I don't understand is, so the guy from Disney came out and said that they can't do another season of The Acolyte because of the expenditure. And I'm at a loss as to why this is even an issue. Because you're running a company. If they can't make The Acolyte for less money than what they spent, then these are terrible people that don't know what they're doing. Right? Like, there's no reason to spend $230 million on The Acolyte, season 1. Like, there's no world where that makes any sense when you watch the show and you see the level of quality that it is. In terms of everything from acting to the sets to everything. There's no way it should have costed that much. And so, I guess they just greenlit Andor for this absolutely nuts amount of money. It just isn't making sense. And then when you factor in, what makes it even worse is Kathleen Kennedy is a lifetime producer of a ton of really big movies. So she should understand budgeting and getting the job done with the least amount of money possible. But it just feels like they're just like throwing money. And then to throw this much money at Andor, I think they spent $250 or something on season 1. Like, what are you guys doing? And then no one watched season 1, or at least it was poorly rated. Not nobody, but not a lot of people watched it. But they still said, "Oh, let's pour in another $300 million into this show." And I'm still just befuddled at how you can't produce these shows on less money. It's not like Andor is just riddled with crazy special effects and it's just unbelievable. Yeah, there's a few shots. Obviously, the scene on the one planet where there's like the weird, colorful, meteor shower. Yeah, they did some stuff, but like, where's the money going? Like, is it all going into location? Because they did film one of the scenes or a few of the scenes at the science center and some. Anyway, to me, this is nuts. Disney's $645 million Andor budget shows how it's lost control. It has. This is insanity. And we're going to talk about what they spent on the old stuff, just so you know. The future of Disney Star Wars remains unclear, but this latest bit of news must produce a reckoning inside the company of what exactly they're doing here and how much longer this can possibly continue. Yeah, it's like, if I'm a shareholder, I'm just like, what are you doing? But for some reason, they don't seem to care. Nobody says anything. Forbes contributor Carolyn Reed reported via Disney's own disclosures that the total cost of Andor on Disney Plus will be a stunning $645 million, with $290 million spent on season 2. This is Disney's number, so expect that number to go up, just like the Acolyte number went up from 180 to 230, as things get more disclosed. And again, this is straight out of Disney's own financials due to disclosure rules in the UK. Okay. Your initial thought might be, well, Andor is so great, so surely Disney must think it's worth spending that much. But Disney is not in the business of charity. And despite the fact that, yes, you could certainly argue that Andor is the actual best thing Disney's entire Star Wars era has produced, it is nowhere near the viewership that would justify those kinds of costs. As recently as last year, Andor was reportedly the least watched Disney Plus Star Wars project behind all others, starring more names like Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Boba Fett, and OG Mando and Grogu. At baseline, Andor is about one of the dudes from Rogue One, whom we know is going to die. Yeah. What are they doing? Of course, the show is excellent, but again, this show did not pull viewership that would justify that kind of budget. I'm not sure if it was the number one. I'm not sure it would if it was the number one show on Netflix, pulling in billions of minutes watched. These numbers are out of control. Now, I disagree that it's excellent. I reviewed it. It has issues. There are some good things in there for sure, but it's another show that Star Wars put out that's attempting to be not really Star Wars. right? It's supposed to be super dramatic and long, drawn-out monologues and all types of things that are not really very Star Wars-y. But it does have some good stuff, too. Absolutely. And I've said all along, the prison scenes are great. The prison break is great. But there's some other stuff, and they did drag on some episodes in very Filoni fashion to I guess spend all this money and have however many episodes it had, I don't remember. But The Acolyte then became after Andor, Acolyte became the least watched Disney Star Wars show and was canceled for plainly stated reason that its viewership did not justify the cost. It cost $230 million for the first season. Now we have Skeleton Crew, which may again now be the least watched Disney Plus series, but still with a budget of $120 million. Which isn't super crazy. It's crazy, but it's not super crazy like these other ones. It remains to be seen if it will be renewed for season 2, but it does not seem likely at this point, as the show is not charting in the streaming top 10 list, despite topping Disney Plus's own internal one. And just so you know, I am going to watch the 5th episode tomorrow. I will do a review tomorrow. I haven't got to it. I've been focused on other things, and this just blew my mind, so I want to talk about this. Christmas, obviously. So, I'll watch it tomorrow and do a review. Disney has veered so hard into almost nothing but streaming Star Wars content that it's completely lost control of the situation with these balloon budgets and viewership that simply cannot, under any circumstances, justify that. Disney was scared of making more theatrical films after Solo underperformed, but its streaming run has produced really only one major hit, The Mandalorian. That's right, people forget that. Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 is the only actual hit. Yes, some people watched Ahsoka. Yes, some people watched Kenobi. But the only actual hit was the first 2 seasons of Mando. People forget that. Of all the stuff they've made, think of all the money they've spent, billions of dollars. One. But a string of high-profile, hugely expensive failures more recently. As far as we know, only Ahsoka is getting a second season, likely 3 years after the first one aired. Which, by the way, I know this is becoming a thing with streaming services, but the fact that you're going to have a season 2 come out that many years later, you're probably going to get less viewers, and 2, people are done now. They've moved on to other things. And I don't understand, this is another side point, this is just my own little thought here, just a side point. How come after The Lord of the Rings came out, right, and they filmed all 3 movies at the same time, which saved them huge money, huge time, everything else, why doesn't anyone else do that? I don't get it. You're willing to spend $650 million on Andor? Why didn't you just do it all at once? And maybe you would have saved $100 million. Like, I don't get it. Because it doesn't have the viewership, so they were obviously going to do season 2 regardless, because nobody watched the season 1 anyway. So, like, again, the strategy is so stupid. I don't know why they didn't do that with the sequels. Oh, I guess I do know, because they didn't have a plan, right? If they'd had a plan and knew what they were doing, just film them all at the same time, save yourself a boatload of money, save yourself a boatload of time, market it as hey, this year, it's coming out. Everything's all laid in stone. I still don't understand why Lord of the Rings has not influenced more marketing strategy, story work, everything. And I don't mean Dave Filoni, like, literally just stealing things from Lord of the Rings, like Ahsoka the White and giant statues of the Mortis gods that look exactly like the ones from Lord of the Rings. So, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about direct ripping off. I'm talking about influence. And Andor only got a season 2 in the first place because that deal was secured ahead of time. Okay, why didn't you shoot it all at once then? That's my point. You can imagine that the show may have been canceled with that budget and that viewership had that original deal not been in place. Okay, and you're probably right. We don't need to read the rest of this. I just can't believe this is nuts, what they're spending. And I want to show you guys what the original Star Wars cost. So they're paying this much money for these mediocre shows that not a lot of people watch. The first Star Wars movie, if adjusted for inflation, had a budget of $74 million. And that's factoring in special edition changes that George added later. So when it originally came out, I mean, let's just hypothetical, 50 million? 50 million. And they made a movie that made 1.8 billion in profit. That's after ticket, everything. That's profit. What are these people spending this money on? I get it, the special effects and stuff are new now, but where is the money going? Because you should be able to do it. So from what I understand, the Phantom Menace's budget in 1999, adjusted for inflation, would be $216 million. So, what is happening? The Acolyte costs more than the Phantom Menace, guys. Think about that. Adjusted for inflation. What are they doing? This is horrible. Okay, and then factor in even the latest stuff, right? So The Force Awakens had less of a budget than Andor. Like, what is going on? 200 or 645 million. Like, Rogue One had half the budget of Andor, the 2 seasons. Last Jedi, less. And this is total costs. Like, this is including marketing. This is including marketing. This is just the budget for the show. So, what is going on? What is going on? Can someone explain to me what is going on? So apparently Andor, with their marketing, spent $350 for season 1. So they're going to spend another 100 mil. So it'll be, or whatever, another 50 mil. We'll give them the benefit, I would say 50 mil in marketing for season 2. $700 million. What is going on? And by the way, this Acolyte number is pre, the latest numbers. Apparently The Force Awakens is the biggest budget film ever. I could be wrong about that. It might be Avatar or something, but this is a little bit older. They've added more to this. So what, I don't get it. You guys tell me, what in Andor could justify this level of expenditure? And like the article said, it's a show about some guy that was a side character that we know is going to die. We know what happens. And again, I've said this a million times. You can go back and you can make a prequel trilogy about Darth Vader because Darth Vader is the most iconic villain of all time. Andor was a side character in Rogue One. I mean, he was fine. I had nothing wrong with him. But he was a side character. He was a supporting role. So where did Kathleen Kennedy think that this level of expenditure made any sense? I'm trying to compute in my brain how that's okay, how she still has a job after all of this, how it's all being allowed. It doesn't make any sense. Let me know in the comment section what you think. This is nuts. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. It always helps the content, or always helps the channel. Feel free to check out others on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.